Hiya, folks. Welcome back to the Nothing to Do with You podcast with me, your host, Clodagh. I can't believe I am recording the second last episode of season two. I'm shocked at how fast the time has gone. I've been thrilled over all the guests I've had on to date. They've been amazing. And I only had to do one solo episode, so you weren't stuck with me for too much of the time. I hope you're all doing good. I hope you guys are enjoying the build up to Christmas. I know for some people this can be a pretty shitty time of year, and I don't know. Sometimes people find in the winter and in Christmas, emotions can be amplified, and that goes for both positive and negative. So if you are finding you're struggling or you're feeling alone or lost or you just need to have a chat, there is so many resources out there. If you go to the Nothing to Do with You Instagram page, you will find I have a highlights on my story that has a link to various different support centres like the Samaritans, Pieta House, Alone. And also, guys, my DMs are always open. Sometimes it's nice to just have a chat with someone that you don't know, and you know they can't judge you because they don't know you. So don't ever feel that you can't reach out, guys, because what we think sometimes in our head is big, when we say it out loud, it actually can shrink. And there's always someone there ready to listen and who cares and who loves you. So I just wanted to get that out there because it is an exciting time of year. I love Christmas, but for many years, I found Christmas a very hard time of year. So I know what it's like. And I just want you to know that we got you and you're not on your own. So since season one, I have really wanted to do an episode based around addiction. It's something I'm very, very passionate about, but it's also something I'm learning about more and more, and I want to get more educated on. My history, I suppose, is if I know I've said it a few times on my stories and on my Instagram page, and even here on the show. When I started having my panic attacks, there was no going to a doctor or talking it out with a therapist or even having the insight or the awareness, self awareness for a 20-year-old Clodagh to figure out what was going on. So 21. So what was my best friend was alcohol. And every weekend I lived for the weekend because my anxiety disappeared and I became that party girl again, the happy go lucky, bubbly joker I always was. And there was, for a long time in my 20s, a time where I was alcohol dependent because as soon as I had that second drink, that anxiety disappeared. It was gone, and it was my best friend. But it was a best friend that likes to stab you in the back. And how it stabs you in the back, it's a fucking depressant. And not only that, there's nothing worse than a hangover when you have anxiety. It's like a hangover multiplied by 50. And thankfully, through the help of my family, my friends, and again, starting to go to talk therapy, start medication, I developed a healthy relationship again with alcohol. And now I'm at the other end of it where I am an accidental pioneer. I often joke that I went pro young and retired early. So and that's kind of my way of looking at it. But if you had said to me at 25, 26 years of age that I, wouldn't have a drink from one end of the year to the other, there's no way I would have believed you, or that my limit to a drink was literally one. There's no way I wouldn't have been able to hold a conversation, to be honest, with people. I mean, I had such crippling social anxiety and generalized anxiety that alcohol was my best friend. But as we all know, it is just temporary. And unfortunately, it magnifies it into a lot worse in your own head. And like I said, it is a depressant. So I've really wanted to have somebody on who would be I suppose, felt safe enough to share their story with me, and be, authentic and tell it in a very real, very natural way. Not we're here in the therapist couch now, tell me what's wrong with you and why you are the way you are. None of that bullshit, because when you hear addict, once upon a time you pictured the person sitting on the corner of a street that you cross the road to avoid. But I can tell you, there is many of us out there that are living among us, working away, doing their jobs, and suffering at the back of it with addiction. So I want to take the taboo out of that by using this podcast for it. And I came across this guy on Instagram. First of all, I loved the name Rise Above It. I mean, how many times have I heard that saying in my life? If anything ever went wrong, my mother would always say, "Oh, just rise above it, rise above it." So I instantly was drawn to this page, and I saw this lad was mad into running. I was like, "Oh, great. Another lad now to make me feel terrible because I'm not running, but I am trying my boxing and all that." And I think he likes ice baths as well, and running and getting into the deep sea, which will explain why he has savage skin, by the way, lads, which you'll see. I did ask him off camera what moisturizer he uses, but apparently it's literally the sea. So that's enough yarble for me for the episode. I'm going to introduce you guys to an incredible young man, a man I'm so honoured and thrilled to have on the podcast to share his story, and give a warm welcome to Mr. Jason Byrne. Hello, Jason.
Hello.
Well, was that enough of waffling? It was.
It was perfect. It was perfect. It was lovely.
And I made it under 10 minutes. Well, that's good. I always try and get it in under the 10 minutes. Jason, welcome to Nothing Taboo with You podcast.
Thanks for having
me. We've been talking a lot over the last few months on Instagram, and I really was hoping that we'd get to hear. So I'm so happy to have you on, and that you're like the penultimate guest of season 2. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No, it's genuinely, it's an honour, because I know we were meant to do this before a few months ago, but I couldn't get around to what you were talking about. But I'm happy to be on it now.
Like we said, we can often take on too many things, and timing is everything. So there's a reason why it is coming out now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So Jason, I'm going to shut up talking, and I'm going to say I want you to have a little bit of a chat with us about yourself and your journey. I believe is it sober 21 months? Is that right?
Oh, yeah,
22 months?
21 months, yeah, 21 months. The 26th of this month, it'll be 21 months, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations. I know it's day by day and all of that, but congratulations. That's incredible. Yeah. So,
well, considering it was very hard for me to just get past one day off the drugs, it was it was a struggle. Yeah, it was a struggle.
Well, let's get into it, Jason. Tell us about yourself.
Right, so my addiction kind of started when I was probably about 16 years of age. I lost a girlfriend. She was only 15 at the time. I was only young. I didn't really know how to control my feelings or my emotions and that, so being that young, I was around a lot of drugs, but I never done them until after my girlfriend died. So then, I just, I was just curious then after that, because I knew people were on it and what I was doing for them. So I just said, can I course this?
Of course can. I have a degree in French.
I said, fuck it. I want to try it. Let's go cocaine. I wanted to see what it was all about.
Okay.
And when I tried it for the very first time, I literally didn't know it was going to have an effect on my life the way it did. Right. It literally took over. We'll get into that, but it took over everything. I lost control of my life because of the drugs. Wow. All from that one sniff of cocaine when I was 16.
You were 16.
When I was 16.
You were only a baby.
Yeah. Only a baby. I have a 12-year-old daughter. She's 12 next week, and I say to myself, Jesus,
4 years away from that.
That's all. It's only 4 years, So that was literally the start of it. And the minute I put that up my nose, I was hooked. But I didn't know it. I didn't know I was hooked there and then, because you don't feel it. It's like it was literally a weekend thing, because I didn't have the money. I was only 16 years of age. I was working, and it's a lot of money for a bag of cocaine, So
Right.
it was every weekend. It wasn't like every day back then, and it was every weekend. But then every time I went out on the weekend, I needed to have that bag of cocaine in my pocket.
To
That was the
enjoy the
thing.
night, was it?
Oh
Was
yeah,
it?
yeah, because it was part of going out, and it
Okay.
still is. It's everywhere. The place is
Yeah, it
destroyed with the
is.
stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Destroyed. Yeah.
So it was like going out all the time with that in my pocket. Now at 16 years of age, like I would have spent my whole wages. Say I was probably on about €300 as a 16-year-old, and that whole wages
Way.
went on that. Um,
And were your
and
friends doing it as well? Like, Jason, was it like
yeah, yeah,
you weren't just the only person like going out doing it? It was socially kind of like what
yeah.
everyone, well, a lot of
It,
people were doing.
yeah, look, as I said, it's everywhere. It was everywhere back then. It's everywhere now. It's probably even worse nowadays.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, it's like it was just a thing that we all met up on the weekend drinking in the flats, or else as I said, as you got older, hit the pubs. Do you know what I mean? But
Okay.
it was like, put it this way, it was like you couldn't go for a drink without having a bag of cocaine in your pocket, and that was, I couldn't even tell you that. I can't remember the feeling of having a can or a pint without having a sniff of cocaine. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it was that, it just literally it became part of the alcohol as well. It was, it just
So it wasn't like that you got old enough to go to the pub and you dropped that and started
yeah,
like, having pints or whatever. You needed the two.
that needed to.
Right.
I remember saying this many times. All I wanted to do at the time, because I'd done so much cocaine, all I wanted to do was just to go have a few pints, leave the pub, go to the chip bar and go home. I could never do that. That's normal, but I could never do that because the cocaine would have kept me out for days and days and days.
And that's what I was going to say. Was that it? And you'd happily do that. You'd happily stay out. You'd want to be out and
Yeah, you want, and that's the thing. Yeah, you would want to be out all the time, and
okay.
the mad thing is, like, I would say I was 16 years of age. My mum and dad, like, I was obviously living in the house, and my mum and dad wouldn't know where they was. And it's only till you get to this age, until you get to a situation, a point in your life, you look back and say, "Geez, how selfish!"
I
Like,
know.
but you don't see it as a 16-year-old. You don't see it. Do you know what I mean?
That's because teenagers and kids, they don't have a sense of mortality or
Mm,
self-awareness, and that conscience that we all
mm,
have,
mm.
that develops with age. So of course, like you said, you're not going to give a shit about who's worrying about you because it's all about you. You'll never
Yeah.
meet anyone more selfish than a teenager anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that I carried that into me 20s, into me
Yeah.
early 30s. Do you know what I mean? So as at a young age, that was imprinted, that was in my brain. Then that was my routine. Then all the time of every time I went out, as I got older and older and older, it was just I just got used to it. That was my
Mm.
life. It was part of my
Yeah.
life. It was part of who I was. Unfortunately, you know.
And were you drinking, or were you taking it every night of the week? Did you get to that point, or was it just always weekends?
I definitely got to that point.
Yeah.
Later
Okay.
on in my life, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so like as it says, I was 16, and right up to me into me mid 20s. Like that was every weekend. That was every weekend without fail. I don't even think there was one weekend where I didn't. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember
Yeah.
that. I just always on it. So
And what was the come down like? So say on a
uh
Monday morning.
horrible. Sometimes I'd be afraid to come down, so I continue on the next day and the next day.
Oh, God love
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
That
and
probably forms part of addiction for the reason
mm,
for so many people, I'd imagine.
yeah, because I know a lot of people to this day, um, that's in that situation, and I fear for them because I've been there. You know,
Yeah.
I've been there, and I lost jobs, like a lot of people, friendships, trust, as you would, because
Of course.
People didn't want to, some people want to be around me, but some people didn't. Because people that didn't want to be around me would be the people that they didn't want to turn out like me. Does that make sense? And then there's people that want to be around me because they want to be around me because I had drugs.
Go away.
Yeah. I was the nice guy. I'm still nice to this day. So even though I was an addict, I was a nice addict. You know, it's just that I was wrapped up with the drugs. I got in trouble a few times, you know, but I was still a nice person. That makes sense, you know. The drugs made me do things that I didn't want to do.
Okay.
You know, and that's a lot of people are stuck in that situation. A lot of good people are addicts, but they don't want to be in that situation. You know, and that's the truth.
And that's the thing, like, when you said that, you know, I was a nice addict, that's the whole point. Like, I mean, you know, I hate when I hear people saying, oh, you know, he's a druggie or she's this, that. And I had to learn that myself. I was called out on saying that because, like, what does an addict look like? I mean, how many people in your life were you able to hide that from for years? You know what I mean?
A lot.
Yeah, I believe it. And but it, like, you were able to hold down your job, I presume, for periods of time, and
Yeah. I lost a couple of jobs, but I had a job for long enough. But I was going in. I was lucky enough. The boss man liked me. You know, he liked me, and I was getting away. I missing Mondays and all whatever, and he let me away. And I'm surprisingly, I still talk to him to this day. You know, and God knows how I would have turned out if I had losing that job at that age. Would I have gone worse into addiction now? Do you know what I mean? So I had a steady job, even though I was going through all the stuff in my life, my personal life. I had a steady job. That was structure. That was routine for me. I needed that. That job.
Thank God you had that. Thank God you had that, because imagine, God forbid, where you'd be if you hadn't that. So was it because you knew you needed the money to be able to go out every weekend?
Yeah.
Do you think that was kind of what kept you in the job, or do you think you liked having the routine too? You liked stepping away from it?
See, I definitely need the money because I back then I did. I'm not gonna lie. I did love to do the drugs. I loved the feeling of it. And anybody will tell you that's listening to this, you start doing drugs because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good, and somewhere along the way, you lose the love for it. You lose the love for it, but the addiction takes over, and that's why you do it. A lot of people would say it's making excuses to keep using or keep doing what you're doing. It's not. It's the addiction. It's the brain telling you that you need that, which later on in life I found out, no, I didn't need it, you know.
So it's like you're in too deep at that point. It's not just taking it for the social,
The enjoyment now.
Yeah. That's the frightening thing about drugs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Like, as I said, 21 months now, my enjoyment for using drugs was months before that. You know, I was just doing it for the sake of it. Just kept doing it, same thing over and over again. You know, stuck on repeat.
And like, so say, for example, you said the first time you tried it, like so many, I mean, I know plenty of people. I still to this day don't know how I didn't ever try any drugs. Like, I obviously had tried a joint and had a few joints when I was younger, but I was thankfully very confident as a teenager, and as a young teenager. So I would have needed a drug to calm me down. Whereas anyone that I knew that was taking anything, it was like because they kind of felt too shy, or they wouldn't get on the dance floor until they'd, you know, taken stuff or whatever. So I was kind of like, oh, I don't want something now that'll kind of like make me totally burst off the walls, because I'm mad as a brush as it is already. So I think that's the only reason, because I was around it. I mean, there's very few people, I think, nowadays. Now I know I'm a few years older than yourself, but it was everywhere back then. So it certainly was there. But I do remember a friend of mine one time saying that they were after taking their third pill of the night, and they were like, I just still can't get up and dance. I just can't. And they were on there, and I was like, Jesus Christ. they're on their third and they still can't, like, what
Yeah.
is this, you know? And that person had unfortunately quite a problem with it, you know, for some time after, you know, but I just, that scared me. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I was probably too
Yeah.
chicken shit, being honest.
See, don't you build a bit of tolerance for the drugs as well? I mean, take it so many, like, I take it for years. It just becomes used to, you know. It's adapt
Yeah.
to it, I suppose, you know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And like the fact that, like you said, you were the nice guy as well.
Mm.
Like, did you find there was a lot of people that came and used you, used your friendship, used you to get access to drugs?
At the time, I didn't see it, but
Yeah.
yeah, when you look back, you say yeah, because you know it's true. You know who your true friends are when you're
Yeah.
really in the trenches, and um, I've learned that over the last few months or few years. Yeah, I would have been the nice guy, as it says, and I would have always had it, and I would have no problem giving it to everybody because, but you know what, in some strange way, I was trying to buy me friends. Do you know what I mean? Because I
I
wanted
get
to have
that.
these people around me all the time. So if I had that, then I could be with them. That's what it's sad. It actually is sad if you think about it because I wouldn't have said that I had friends, you know, but I had all these
Yeah.
people around me, but they weren't friends, you know. Not all of them anyway.
And like before you were 16 and started to take, would you have been a shy kid? Would you have been outgoing?
Um,
Um,
I would have been a very quiet kid, quiet,
okay.
you know,
Right.
never
Okay.
in trouble, you know. But so I've been told I was a good kid, you know.
But I think that's how addiction starts for so many people, isn't it? Like that,
Mm.
like you said, that curious and like you're a city boy, you grew up in the city, and I suppose like the access to it is so much more easier.
Yeah,
And like you said, that one sniff, that first sniff, like that was going to like change your life.
yeah, but I didn't know it. I didn't
Yeah.
know I was going to, you know.
And how many Jasons is there out there? You know, that's what
There's a lot.
scares me for the world. You know, that's
Yeah,
that if you had the foresight now, like how do you expect a 16-year-old to have the foresight? But do you know, if someone came and said to you, Jason, if you do this now, this is going to affect you for many, many years to come, and it's not going to
my
be
God.
good, you wouldn't have taken it.
No,
You
straight away,
know,
no. If I
no,
had known what was going to do to my life, there's no way. There's no way.
yeah, and like and again we'll get into that again. I think that's why like mental health actually I think ties in so heavily, and it's so deep rooted and so connected with addiction.
Of course.
I think we need to be starting to get to these kids quicker, and I mean as quick as we possibly can,
Mm.
and not the qualified, not always the qualified suit from wherever who has no who has the book intelligence and the book experience, but I think
Mm.
the life experience. I know for a fact if someone had talked to me about alcohol and panic attacks who had been through it, if say me now was
Yeah.
talking to 21-year-old me, I would have listened to her because
Okay.
she gets it. She's me. You know, she understands it. Like you, like imagine you talking to a 16-year-old young fella now. You
Yeah.
know, I can guarantee you, Jason, he'd listen to you 100 times before he'd listen to. And I'm not disrespecting those occupations. Do not get it twisted. But I'm saying for the younger generation, I
Mm.
just feel there should be more programs in the schools, the likes of yourself going in,
Absolutely.
giving talks,
Absolutely.
things like
Yeah.
that, hitting it before it starts, you know.
Yeah.
But like again, I think you and I could talk about this forever. So, Jason, was this affecting you medically, or like physically,
So,
or anything happening with you?
no, lucky enough, like, you know, lucky enough, yeah, you think all the drugs I've done in my life. Like, I do have a bit of a heart problem, to be honest. I get a regular heartbeat, you know, it jumps every now and
Okay,
again. The cocaine wouldn't have helped that over the years. To this day, it still happened,
Okay.
But the mad thing is, I never really went and got it checked, I got on with it. Yeah, I got on with it.
You're such a boy.
Yeah, silly, very,
All
very
you
silly.
boys do that, yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I'm very lucky that that I woke up, like after the session on the drugs or whatever, because it wasn't only like a bag of tea towards the end. It was a serious amount that I was taking,
Like in the one go in the one session.
Yeah. So I started from one at 16 years of age. I went from one bag to probably 15 bags, 10, 15 bags a weekend. Then and the bags get bigger as well.
And that's your tolerance level getting higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, over the years, because more. That's what it does. You want more. A lot of people use that word more because it should be called more, because everyone, it does. You don't end on the one bag. You just want more. After that, you're ringing someone else. It doesn't matter what time it is at night. You're ringing someone else. You're trying, and you're going off and getting it. You're getting it.
Yeah. And you'll find it.
No matter what, if one person lets you down, two persons let you down, whatever it may be, you're still gonna get it. There's a lot of people out there that has it, and look at it for it's just the way it is. It's the way it is.
So you got into your 20s, continued life. Like I presume you were working away, moved out of home, all of that, and you were. So would you say you were a functioning addict?
I was, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And like when I say I struggled. I absolutely struggled through my 20s. And like it says, people didn't even realise it. You're hiding it from everyone.
Yeah.
Some people do notice. Like my ex-partner, that when I moved out of my ma's house, like she would have to put up an awful lot of where I was going, leaving the house, not coming back for days. That was all the time. All the time. Yeah. Come back and start in trouble, starting arguments. I'll be honest with you, I did, and I did all that. And it literally it changed the person who I actually am. It made me this horrible version of me. Horrible person. And I'm ashamed of it. But there's nothing I could do about that now. That's in the past,
And I don't like hearing you say you're ashamed of it. I get it. I get why you're saying that, because it probably robbed you of a lot of amazing opportunities and things. But I can only kind of relate with the alcohol dependence, and I for so long didn't talk about it because I was ashamed. And I remember saying it to my therapist one time, and he was like, "Don't use that word again. Don't use that word, because that shame has brought you to where you are right now. So what you should do is you should thank that shame and thank it for bringing you here and for leading you to where you are right now." And that sticks with me. And I've talked to a lot of people over, especially the last 2 years, when I had the breakdown and the relapse, when the panic attacks came back so horrifically. I was like, I've fucking failed. I failed. All I could think of was you sometimes I think you can get a bit sanctimonious when you're in recovery. And when I say recovery, for me, recovery with my mental health, that you're like, I've it all learned now. And I think you can kind of relate to this, because especially in the start of your recovery, which would have been my late 20s, early 30s, and for a good few years there, it was all handy dandy. And next thing, this one thing just turned my world upside down. And not only did I have the breakdown, but the panic attacks came back 20 million times worse than I'd ever had them before. And I was like, how stupid are you? How useless are you? You're letting this in when you say you talk about it and you know what panic attacks are and you understand the science behind it and this, and you're letting it in. And that self-critic wanted to keep me down. And I had to learn to silence that and certainly not let it get as much airtime. And I believe that the self-critic is a huge part of addiction
Mm.
and plays a pivotal role in trying to keep you down and keep you in that addiction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that breaks my heart
Yeah.
because there's no lonelier place than when you're beating the shit out of yourself.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I understand exactly what you're saying there, you know. 'Cause, I went through all that myself, you know. And with it, as you would say, with the mental health part of it, the addiction, the drugs, the drink, it only adds to that, doesn't it? Like, it's like adding fuel to the fire, you know.
Yeah, but at the
That,
time you think it's the best
oh,
remedy.
of course, and it's we all know it. It's one of the worst. It's the worst because yeah, it's the easier option for all of us to go and try. But nowadays, a lot of people more are talking about the mental health and are talking about addiction, which is great.
Yeah,
There's more tools now we can use. You know, and that's why I do what I do. And with the running and the sea dip and all that, I want to
yeah,
promote that to let people know that you don't have to go and hit alcohol to to suppress your feelings or whatever. Because I know that's what the alcohol does. And drugs does. It suppresses all them
yeah,
feelings. It numbs you. It numbs you. But
yeah,
unfortunately, along along the road, it just takes over your life, and then that's where the addiction comes in, you know. And
yeah.
then the addiction will keep you. It'll keep you. It'll suffocate you, you know. It'll keep you suffocated as long as you let it.
Of course. And like somebody told me lately that addiction is an illness of a
Mm,
mental illness of the
it
mind.
is.
And I just thought in a weird way that is such a beautiful description
Mm,
because that makes it an awful lot more relatable. Because I just feel people when they hear addiction, some people still can have that. Ooh,
mm.
don't talk about that.
Yeah,
Like,
the stigma.
and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And like me with the fuck taboo, that's exact. And that's why I was like, I wanted somebody to come on and talk about addiction, but I did want to be careful because I'm I haven't walked in your shoes to the degree you have, and I don't want to use the wrong terminology or anything because I know, like the program and all of that, how the fellowship and how important all of those things are to people. So I don't ever want to disrespect it
Of course.
because I know how precious it is, but I also want I want people to be able to talk about it and like for I think the two things that I'm seeing from whenever I talk to anyone with addiction, it's you start either by curiosity or
Yeah.
from trauma.
Mm,
And they're the two. And even the curiosity can then lead to trauma.
of course.
So both lead down the wrong route and the route that is devastating to your soul. And I I just want to hug anyone that take I like I said as when I hear people say, oh, he's a druggie, that and I used to say that. I've probably
Mm,
said that. And you know what, rightly so was corrected about it. That's something that I just find so fucking ignorant.
yeah.
And we as a society, we're getting there with mental health, we're getting there with bits and bobs and with the LGBTQ, and I don't like the word woke. You won't hear me say it.
Yeah.
Because I just think that's again they're a privileged group, and I think some of them take it too far. Yes, I did say that, so you can all send in the complaints away. You know what my email address is. But I think something like this is something that needs to be discussed way more in such a happy, healthy way, like you and I having this chat.
Yeah.
Like, did you know you were, like, say by 25, did you know you were addicted?
No. No,
Really?
I didn't. I didn't. No, I didn't. I only started realising I was addicted when I was in my early 30s. I'm 35 now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, so doing it I stopped doing it when I was 32, and then I was started when I was 16. So in that space of time, it was towards the last 3 or 4 years of my addiction of using. It was when I realised, whoa, this is just gone out of control completely, And even though I knew I was using every weekend, and then see, it led from the weekends to every day. So that's how I knew then, right? This is not right, And even though I knew I had a problem, I did nothing about it. I didn't tell anybody. I just, like, people seen it. Like, people seen
Yeah.
it. I just didn't look right, Wasn't eating. I wasn't socialising. I just didn't look right. I didn't look
Yeah.
healthy at all.
So
Scruffy.
it's harder to
That's the
mask
word.
it.
Yeah. It really was. Yeah. You couldn't hide it. You couldn't hide it anymore. And then that's what, like, so from every day. So literally every day you're using, and that was it. It was mentally draining, physically draining, emotionally draining, all that. There was times I tried to kill myself, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And that's where the mental health side comes in,
Of
because
course.
I understand it's a choice. Drugs are a choice. Alcohol is a choice, and I get that. So I chose not to do it anymore. I chose, when I woke up, my last time using, actually, I cried and cried and cried into a bag, and I wanted to
While you
kill
were
myself that
doing
night
it.
while I was doing it. And I was in my sister's house. I have a video. I actually put up crying just before it. And I was literally, I had nothing left to give. I was either take me life, and this is the God honest truth, it was either take me life or reach out. And I reached out to a friend of mine, Arden Fleming. I woke him this day, and he got on the phone. It was late, and he got on the phone to me. And I remember him saying to me, I'm going to get you detoxed this week. I remember him saying that. So obviously I wasn't in work because I missed work because of the drinking drugs. And he goes, he was a man of his word. He brought me down to a gym. This was his detox, because Arden's a bodybuilder. So he goes, we're going to
Okay.
go training. So this was the start of me changing my life. This is nothing, to be honest, about meetings. I went to meetings, I didn't get out in front of meetings, and
Yeah.
I know each to their own. Everyone has their own way of doing this,
Everybody is their own way.
And I
Yeah.
have to get that in there, because I know I got slated before I put a video up, and all I said, I was talking about is a topic about they didn't work for me, they might work for someone else. So my
100%.
meetings, my treatment was training, going to the gym, literally. I couldn't get past what I was telling you. I couldn't get past one day of cocaine, one day. And I remember saying that week, I said to my sister, I'm 3 days off it. And I was so happy with myself. 3 days. And that's how I knew the problem just got escalated. I was like, I couldn't get past one day.
And how was the
So
detox? How was the first 24 hours?
it was tough. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very, very hard, very hard. It's great when you're with someone and he's in the gym and he's pushing you and all, but it's like when you go home,
And you're on
when you
your
go home,
own.
what do you do? It's easy
Yeah.
for you to go use, go
Yeah.
and get a bag, get a drink. So I just fought through it. I fought through it. That's mentally, I had to be strong. I had to be
That's
very
incredible.
strong.
I like the
Because,
fact that you did that voluntarily, as in you didn't go into a program, you didn't
mm,
say, here, mom, dad, lock me in my room here for 7 days, or
mm,
whatever you did. That's incredible. That shows you you actually had that strength within you without realizing.
I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And I tried to get sober many, many times, like many
Had
times.
you?
Yeah, and I have. And there was, I must mention this, there was, because I don't know, this might relate to people. I used to get to 6 weeks. I don't know what it was. I don't know why 6 weeks. It was like a mental barrier. Come 6 weeks, I would go back using cocaine. I'll go back drinking. And that happened to me 4 or 5 times. And
Six weeks.
I still couldn't put my head around that why it was
Wow.
always on the 6 weeks. So
Okay.
when I got past the 6 weeks, I knew this is it. I have this. I have this now. I know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
because that was the barrier there, and I broke through it, you know. Um,
That's
and
incredible.
like that is now I look back then to this day, you know.
So when you said to your sister, so your family, I presume, at this stage knew you
Mm.
were an addict.
Yeah,
Like, how did it feel saying, "Wow, I'm 3 days"? Like, did you feel that? Could you feel that pride starting to build up in yourself, or
yeah.
were you
I felt that.
cautiously? Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it was amazing. And I say 3 days to people, and they're like, "Hey, it's only 3 days." But to me, it
Mm.
was like a year. Do you know what I
I
mean?
know. Yeah.
Because I was living it. It's okay for people to look at me and say, like, "Come on, fair play to you," but I'm living it. I'm living
Yeah.
the I was living in hell. I wasn't
Mm.
even living it. I was only existing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
That's the
hate
thing.
hearing that. Every
Yeah.
time I've ever heard anyone say that they went through a life where they were existing, including
Oh.
myself, it breaks my heart because none of us deserve that. If you're a good person and you've good intentions, you shouldn't be reliving just that kind of misery and
Mm.
that hardship. Like when I hear you say, and I don't even know you, Jason, I hear you say you were like, take my life or take charge of it, like my stomach was turning here, just knowing that you were at that point. Um, because you hear these, and again, this is the good thing and the bad thing that people are talking about things more and more. But sometimes I feel we forget to actually stop and listen and
Mm.
actually heed what someone has said. And you just said there, that you were at a point where you were like, yeah, I might be ending it. And
Mm.
and again, suicide is such a horrific, you know, trauma for anyone that's lived through it. And to lose someone that way is just absolutely fucking devastating. There's no words. So I think if anyone is ever in a stage in their life where they've felt that way and are now, say, like you sitting here, I'm in awe of that because that takes
Yeah.
a mental strength that of a gladiator.
Nah. It was
Yeah, I
tough.
fully believe that.
Really, 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 really difficult. You know, very, very difficult. And like,
So did you
like
keep gymming? Were you going to the gym every day? Was that the routine? What was the
that
way?
was, yeah, the routine at the start. I
Okay.
end up he bring me to the gym for 1 week, and then I got the love for that. I don't know, maybe it's
Okay.
me additional personality. I don't know, because then I started enjoying that. Then, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
but um, but that was that. I enjoyed that like a really. It was I done that for a good few weeks, and then I joined the
Right.
gym, and then me good friend David McDonald, good family friend, introduced me to the sea dips, the sea swims, and
Okay.
that was a game changer altogether.
And had you been interested in swimming before? Had you been a swimmer?
No,
Had you done it when you were a
no,
kid or anything?
no, no.
Stop it.
I thought they were all mad. I used to say them. I thought they were all mad in that water. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I think, so it's
I
okay.
used to drive past Port Marnock, and I see them on the water. I said, "Geez, look at them mad things." And these would be all like people in their 70s and 80s and all, and not a bother to
Yeah.
them, you know. And then he
So
told
your
me about
mate suggested it to you.
yeah, yeah. So do you know what? I think I got to 4 months before he introduced me to sea swims.
Wow.
So it was 4 months without, as I said, without meetings, without treatment centres, just all willpower, and
That's
and just
incredible.
and just the want the voice I give somebody. It gets easier if you want it. If you want it, you will do it, and I mean that.
I'm actually going to take a note of that for the show notes.
Yeah.
It gets easier if you want it.
Yeah.
I think that's powerful.
Mm.
I love that. I just think that's, yeah. Now I know it's for some people it's probably easier said than done, but
Of
you've
course.
done that. You've been
Mm.
there. I mean, you
Mm.
said you had tried this before a
Mm.
number of times, but did you just feel, do you know what? Fuck it, Jason, you deserve better than this. Was it that, or was it like when you had hit that end of the road when you're like, I've only two choices here? Was it like, right, I'm gonna actually start living?
Yeah, all I wanted, like all I wanted is to be sober, have a few quid in the pocket, look
Yeah.
fresh, have nice clothes, and that's it. I didn't need
Yeah.
the material things of flashy
Yeah.
cars or watches or fancy house or that. I just wanted to live,
I
and
love that.
that's how I just want to live. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, the material things are nice to have in life, but it's
They
not.
are, yeah.
They are nice, but what's important? Like when you're literally living a life of the way I lived, of just not, as I said, just existing to living now. This is all I've wanted. So like
And
every day I wake up so fresh, happy. I got happy ups and downs to get like everyone, But
and that's self-love. That's you
yeah,
practicing
yeah,
self-love, you know.
yes, yeah, it
And
is.
in a way, that all of that was you self-counseling, which is incredible. That
Mm,
is something that not many people can get their head around. People who've never even had addiction problems, that's self-love at its
mm,
finest. And I I never liked using the term self-love. I was like, self-love, oh yeah, that's no, that's real vain. That's no, you have to look after everyone else.
yeah,
No, 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 no. We have to start here with ourselves, because if you can't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. You know.
100%. And I'll be like you. I wouldn't have like when I heard that self love, self care. Like what? What are you on about? I was the exact
Mm,
same.
mm.
It's like it's you try all these new things in life. You do whatever it takes to get your mind right and
Yeah.
try everything. I mean, try everything that's out there. There's
Mm,
a lot of ways. There's a lot of
mm.
ways to, as you said, practice self love, self care, and my escape was training, running,
I
sea
love
dips,
that.
nature. Nature was all this,
Uh,
meditation.
the running thing, I haven't got on board with the running thing. There's a guy here in Thurles running with Aiden. I'm sure you've seen him on Instagram, and he's phenomenal. And again, coming from a background of depression, lads, I can't get into the running. I'm going to be straight up, girls. You'll get this. I think it's the boobs. For me, it's just you can't run if you've any bigger than like a B cup. You just can't. It's just too much hard. So I just picked up a pair of boxing gloves instead and just started boxing. So
That's good. That's it. At least you're doing something.
oh yeah, and I like that. The weeks that I don't work out, I feel it. Now I'll do the
Yeah.
bike as well. I love the bicycle, but running, no, no. If you're short and you've boobs, nah. Now,
Mm.
if you want to prove me wrong, guys, by all means reach out, but no. And so for C dip, tell me, what was it like?
Oh, I still remember it. I was shiting myself because I just knew it was freezing. It was around April, and
Okay.
I remember going out, and I remember I just couldn't catch my breath. The wave hit me, and I started panicking. And my mate
Yeah.
came over to me, and he's breathing with me, and I remember it. And he's breaking shit laughing at me, but yeah, yeah. But we got it done. And like it's
I
like
love that.
I think when you first try to see the, it's so difficult. It's you're walking out of that sea. You know it's cold. It's a challenge in itself when you're battling. Like it's you against you when you get into that water, right?
Yeah.
And then when you get in, that's
Who's your money on?
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's when you get out. It's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Your mindset changes.
The
The dopamine.
endorphins.
I don't know
Yeah,
if you
the
ever read up
dopamine.
about it, all of the dopamine, the release of that. It's like it's. Do you know what they say? Actually, you know what? I've seen a couple of videos, and they say the cold water has 10 times more effect than cocaine. The cocaine is an instant effect and lasts about 20 minutes. But with the cold water, it's a slow release of dopamine. So throughout the day, you will start to feel good as the day goes on.
Yeah.
You know?
10 times more. I'm just writing that for because I think
Yeah.
that's fascinating. I
Mm.
haven't done the cold water, but I get the dopamine. Like I get that from working out.
Mm.
I used to just do soft things like Pilates and yoga and stuff after having the breakdown. And I have to keep remembering, I call it my breakthrough, not my breakdown, my breakthrough. But I just happened, like you, a friend of mine said, was like, I do a bit of training. I went there in March this year, and we do the weights, we do the cardio, we do all that. But my God, when I put on those boxing gloves that first night, I came out of there with a feeling that I've never felt before, ever. I felt like I was on top of the world. And to this
Yeah.
day, I still get that every time I leave that session.
Brilliant.
I
Brilliant.
feel powerful. You feel like a warrior. So I
Mm.
get you with the dopamine, the buzz and the rush off that. Now that's a healthy buzz if ever there was one.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's very,
So
like,
you,
there's so many benefits from it. There's a lot. Like if you have skin.
oh, yeah. Again, like I was like, dude, you look awesome. I was like,
Yeah.
that skin is awesome. And I was like, what was it? And he was like, seawater. I was like, no way. That's what. So now he's making me feel now I'm going to have to try it. Actually, I will. I will try this. I won't. And I'm going to say that it was a challenge from you just to
Right.
see what I think of it. But, because I'll never knock something till I try it.
Okay.
Healthily, by the way, guys. I'll never. But like when you go in, so do you dive straight in, or like did you go in handy dandy, or did you go
But
straight in?
handy dandy is not so handy, right? So it's not. So that's actually worse. It's easier to
Okay.
jump in to get the whole body like that instant shock because you're in then
Yeah.
and you have no choice. But when you're walking in Port Marnock, where we do it, as you're walking in, it's more of a challenge because you're getting cold on your toes. You're getting, you have to kind of
You're
just get in.
prolonging it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you have to kind of just jump in, run, jump in, get it done.
So what do? You just run down the beach and straight in?
Yeah, all depends. Like, the tide could be out and there could be at least 20, 30 of us walking towards that water. And then, yeah, but sometimes, obviously, when the tide's in, it's a bit more of a bit more easier for us instead of that big long walk.
I'd imagine. So you got hooked on that,
Yeah.
and that was how long ago? When did you start doing that?
So the ski dip starts, as I said, with my friend Dave McDonald. When he introduced me, that was October. Oh, sorry, that was April last year.
Wow.
April last year. And then, I don't
How
know,
many dips have you done since?
she was out, so it was every Sunday. And I haven't missed a Sunday.
That's wow. And
Ever
is there
since,
many
yeah.
of you doing it?
So yeah, it got really big. Like what started off with the just going down there, like 2 or 3 of us. It just escalated because I kept putting the pictures up on Instagram and
Yeah, they're
Facebook just to
class.
show what I do. It was basically just documenting my journey,
I
And
love that.
and then I got bigger and bigger. My family came down, my nephew, my brothers, and then my mates, people from Ballymun. Like it just grew. Like you see on my Instagram, you see pictures, and you just see the group getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
There's a huge amount of you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then that was it. Like it was amazing. What happened was we built a community of people that just for the mental health and for addiction. So
Love it.
there were so many of us. I said, I want to call this something. I want to name it something. And I was sitting there in the house. And I was like, rise above it. Right, just came to me. And rise above it. What do we do when we're in this situation? But no matter what it is, we try to
Rise
rise
above
above
it.
it and be the
Yeah.
better person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I love the name. I
yeah,
mean, the name is what drew me to your Instagram. So yeah,
yeah.
straight away.
Mm,
And like the rising of the tide, there's so many interpretations in it. So
yeah.
it started with just a couple of ye, and ye go every single Sunday.
Every Sunday without fail. Now, I will say I had to take a step back recently
Yeah.
because my mental health wasn't too good. It was, well, what I was talking to you earlier, it was like when we offer to help or put a hand out, reach out and help somebody, that's fine. But we're not only helping one, we're helping two, three, four. There's a lot of people that
Yeah.
I'm that kind of person that'll try to help everyone. If I can't, I give advice or whatever, or take on this challenge or that challenge, and I'm like, whoa, everything just got too much,
Overload.
And
Yeah.
it's, I said to myself, I just need to. this is where I'm literally practicing self-care and self-love and all that.
Love it.
So I took a step back. I missed a couple now, and I said I did say I'll never go back, but I want to put her now. I will be back. I'll be back after Christmas. Yeah, I'll be back after Christmas. Yeah. I'm
Who knows?
100% coming back.
Who knows? I might come down or come up for the debut. Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be brilliant. Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
No, I really admire that. That's deadly.
Yeah. So from going from sea dipping with two of us, end up we do a 5K down the beach for people that want to run. We have food there with music, frying pans, food all donated. There's a woman, Glenda Houghton, she works great with the homeless. She's from Ballymonagh, and she offers to do food and all for us every Sunday, soup and sausages and all, frying pans. And that's then there's that. And then there's a lady called Mandy. She comes out and does breath work with us for the hour for free.
Very good. And
so
this is a group on a Sunday again.
This is the same one, Rise Above the group.
This is Rise Above it.
And it's this went from sea dips to we bring it all together.
5K. You know I love that. Okay. Yeah. And you all get together, so you're forming like bonds, relationships, getting to know each other.
All mates now. All mates, all good, close friends. And like that, for people that, like, I'm not the only one. There's a lot of lads and the ladies in the group that will get messages now, but I get a lot. I put that videos and I get a lot of messages back about it.
Yeah.
So the people that rock up and that we never seen before, don't even know, and they're nervous because they don't know anybody, but we make them feel welcomed. And
I love that. Yeah, it's all inclusivity.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. I think that's incredible. I think it needs more of a platform. I will definitely be plugging the shit out of it when I'm putting this episode up, because I think that's incredible, and the inclusivity of it, I'm sure you've all ages, and like you said, lads and girls and whatever. Yeah. And like you said, getting together with like that joint aspiration of just rising above whatever, even if it was just maybe a shitty week in work, to someone like yourself who is sober. And I get you, and I hear you. And actually, I did want to mention that because we had talked about it before we started recording. I really respect and admire anybody who says, do you know what? Stop. I have to stop. Whatever particular thing it is, because I had to learn that, especially in my recovery. I found it, I'll do this, I'll do that. Oh, yoga, Pilates, I'll do that. Meditation, go for walks with my friends every week. We'll do 5K here, we'll go there, we'll go to the gym. And, and again, reaching out and helping others and taking calls and taking this and taking that. And I could nearly feel that gurgling feeling, my whoosh, as I call it, building up inside me. But again, now, like you, we have that foresight to go. And that is self-care at its finest, when you sometimes have to say, lads, do you know what? No. There was an incident about 2 years ago that unfortunately cost me a friendship, and it still hurts sometimes, but it was something I had to say no to for my own mental well-being. It was something that I knew if I went, I was putting myself in danger. And not only put myself in danger, but also I would have been putting the people that were there in an uncomfortable spot, because I was still in recovery, and I was very much in danger of having a massive panic attack. And I wasn't prepared to put myself in that position. Whereas a few years ago, I would have. And I would have put myself in that position, and I would have had that attack. And 10 years ago, I would have put myself in that position, and I would have drank the shit out of it, and I would have probably stayed going the next day until I had enough. So I think one of the most powerful things we can do, actually, Jason, is say no sometimes.
Very difficult.
Not
very
now,
difficult.
lads. It is. And I remember when you said that time when we were going doing it, and you said, you know what, I actually want to bow out. I actually was like, go him. Because
Yeah.
that's authenticity at its fucking finest. And I love that.
Mm.
I've often done that where somebody might say, well, Chloe, will we do whatever? Do you know what? I'm not up to it. I'm just not up to it. My head needs a little bit of space. And that's like giving yourself a hug, I
Yeah.
think, and it's taking charge as well of your boundaries. Because boundaries are very important in recovery.
Of course,
And in
yeah.
life in fucking general, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Other than that, we could be walked over a lot of the time,
Mm.
So the rise above it, what do you get out of it? What does it do for Jason?
What I get out of it, the pride and the excitement of seeing somebody change their own life right in front of you. Like, there's people out there that won't mention their names, and they were on their knees when I first met them, on their knees, and they'll tell you this. And when they listen to this, they'll know who they are. And they said to me personally that I have changed their life, and I'll tell them, no, I said, I done this, I gave you advice, and I guide you, and I set this up.
You were the
Fair enough.
co-pilot. Yeah.
Yes, but that individual is the person who shows up on a daily basis, wanting to change their life, putting the
Yeah.
work in, going to the meetings, going to the treatment centre. Do you know what I mean? Going out for a 5K run, go for a seat, they're going for a hike. All this stuff is that they're doing it. Like I was telling you, like I said earlier on, is when it's grand having everyone together on a Sunday morning. But
Yeah.
what counts is when that individual goes home. What do they do with the rest of that day?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
So
I
that's
agree.
that's where I admire them, and I admire them for coming back every Sunday and seeing the glow in their faces. That just seeing them changing. That attitude, that mentality, that physically appearance just changes. Like, as you said about my skin, it happens. You do change. Stay away from the drugs, stay away from the drink, because eventually it's going to change that appearance.
100%. I totally agree with you. And it's written all over your face. And some of them videos you do, you can see just how much you believe in it and how happy, and like those happy endorphins. I swear to God, you wouldn't swap them for anything when they're
No,
released,
no.
and you also, I find, again, through the Nothing to Do With You community, getting the opportunity to meet people like you, again, doesn't that kind of reinforce, like, oh, wow, there's such a lovely bunch of people out there, and there's such good people with good intentions. And like you said, they're in the driver's seat. You're just the co-pilot. But you're one fucking great co-pilot, one I'd be happy to have definitely in the car beside me, because I hadn't realized that you did your detox by yourself pretty much, and that blows me away. I think that takes such courage, such resilience, such determination, and the pride you must have, the pride your family must have, and your friends for you for that. That's why I was saying, don't ever say ashamed, because every single thing you've done in your life has brought you to where you are right here, right now, which is on this awesome podcast with me. So I would wear that as a badge of honor. I think these scars that life leaves on us, they're scars of honor, and they're reminders of how far we've come. And you, my dear, you've come a long bloody way, and you're only 35. Jesus, you've a lot of. Do you know what you should do? You should take the rise above it. Like, you should do like a tour, like dates nationally, and pick places like, beaches around Ireland, and do like, I don't know, once a month or every 6 months.
Good show.
Yeah, I think that would be incredible. I would be totally down for that, and pimping you out on that, because I think that's incredible. Because wellness, and again, I talked about this on an episode recently. Wellness, there can be a bit of smugness with wellness, and like it's a bit of an exclusive club. There is a little bit of that vibe with wellness, But when you're in wellness because of your story has brought you to it, and a story that is of resilience, of strength, of courage, whatever, there's just something a lot more, I don't even want to say magical, but there's that sensation within you that it's like, I'm meant to be here.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people are jumping on the wellness wagon at the moment, and which is brilliant. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather see them jump on that wagon than, you know, any other one. But I think when you've been through what you've been through, and to be now a wellness advocate and you know, a mental health advocate, I mean, there's just such substance in that, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. You know, and it's mad. I my life now, I absolutely love it. I love everything going, and I never thought I'd see. I never, a million years never thought my life would turn out the way it did. You know, and
Yeah.
I never thought I was going to be helping people, making videos, giving people advice. And you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world, because
Good.
the amount of people that text my phone and with like such lovely words, that it's actually a video, or whatever I say, has helped them get through a day. Or a video, one stuck with me saying that I just want to say thanks very much. You don't know me, so thanks very much. You stopped me from using today. I'm like, whoa, that's powerful.
Wow.
Yeah, that is powerful. And that's only a tiny bit of what I get.
Yeah.
So the videos and what I'm doing, again, I've done all this for myself. You know, I started this journey on my own for the COVID to get myself right. But it just, somewhere along the way, it became a thing of a community and helping people. And I'm okay with that. I like to help people. And what I'm doing is obviously working for people, you know. So even though I took a step back a little bit, I'm still doing my thing. You know. And like I said, I definitely will be back next year, and bigger and better.
Deadly. I love that. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to do a C-dip in 2025 with you. Fuck it, I'll give it a go. I'll scream and I'll shout and I'll throw a wobbler or two or three, but I'll do it. Solidarity, my pal.
We'll put the best show on for you then. The best show.
I could do the podcast then live from there afterwards. We could have a chat with some of the lads up there. That'd be really cool. That would be deadly, because
well, let's do it. Let's do it.
You're right, exactly. Let's do that. 2025. Jason, I think what you're doing is absolutely phenomenal, and I think things are only going to get bigger and better, and I think your reach is going to be bigger. I genuinely think, like I said, what we were talking about with the kids, with the curiosity or the trauma, I think someone like you, Jesus, I'd love to see you in schools or, you know, at clubs or whatever talking, because I love the representation of an addict here is like you said, you're a good guy, a nice guy. You're not, you know, and again, not taboo or stigma, you know, you're not coming on telling me you've been in jail and out of jail all your life or anything. And hey, that's no disrespect to anyone that has, but I want people to see that addiction doesn't actually have a face, an occupation, you know, an upbringing. It can knock on anyone's door, can't it, Jason?
Of course. And addiction doesn't care about nobody. We were saying this before. It doesn't care about nobody. You could be the wealthiest person in the world or the poorest person in the world. It doesn't make a difference, you know. When addiction comes knocking, you know, it can be very scary to deal with.
I can imagine. And I just applaud you for everything you're doing. And all I can say is keep up the good work, because, Jesus, can you imagine what your skin will be like next year? Yes, lads, I'm obsessed with his skin. It's just fucking class, all right? Leave me alone. I'm going through hormonal perimenopausal shit, so any good skin I see, I jump on it. Jason, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the pod. I'm bloody thrilled that you came on and you joined in. And thank you so much for trusting me, for telling your story. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd love to have you back on again in season 2 or season 3. Like we said, we could do that live from Port Marnock Beach and meet and chat with some of the people. That'd be awesome. I think that'd be a really cool show, actually. I think
there's
that'd be
some
deadly.
amazing people down them shelters, and
really?
I'm sure they'll all love to have a chat with you. Yeah.
Well, do you know what? That's what we'll do in spring 2025. I'll come up and we'll arrange a date and we'll do that, and we'll meet some of the gang, and he'll push me into the water, because I'd say he'll have to push me.
Literally.
Jason, thanks again so much. I really appreciate you joining in with me tonight. So folks, that is the end of the second last episode of the podcast. What an incredible guy. What an interview. And again, like I said, addiction doesn't have a face. You know, let's break these fucking stereotypes. There isn't anything taboo with you or I or anyone else. So as I always say, just be good to yourself, lads. Be kind. Remember, self-love isn't being selfish. In fact, it's probably one of the most loving things you can do in your life. And just be sound. Be sound to each other and take care of each other. And as I said, wherever you are, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. And if you're struggling, reach out. There's always someone who wants to hear your voice. So guys, mind yourselves, and we'll chat soon. Take care.